I actually, we were just talking about this, and I think in some ways it's appropriate to actually start with your time actually as the head of the chamber, because even though it wasn't a governmental position, it was a very important position within the community in terms of being actively
Right.
engaged in. So, talk to me a little bit about your tenure at the chamber and how perhaps that helped you prepare you for
Right.
all of your time on the legislature.
Well, my 15 years working for the Tioga County Chamber of Commerce, I always like to say that was the best job ever. Chamber work can be very rewarding. You help to build your community. It's a friendly environment. You don't have conflict. You have your team building. And in Tioga County, those years that I spent there they were the greatest. People were welcoming and friendly, and we did some exciting things. We had business shows at the former Treadway, and it was just a very positive experience. But I got to know a lot of people. I got to see how things work in the community and how the village works and then the county works. And I was always somewhat, since high school even, interested in government. Don't ask me why. It just drew my attention. So after those years at the chamber, I decided that I wanted to run for a position, so I did. And that was as a legislator for District 2 in basically the village and a little bit outside of the village. And so I got elected during that time. And so I held on to my chamber job for a little bit and then also was a legislator. So after a certain time, I retired from the chamber and came on full-time as a legislator. And that's when I became the chair of the legislature.
At that time when you first became the chair, what were some of the major issues facing the county that you had to deal with as chair?
So one of the things, well, we had tax issues. There was higher costs in the economy, and we went through a period of time where we didn't lay off people, but we froze positions because the economy was down, we were being challenged, and we just couldn't hire anybody. So we just put a freeze on. And we got through that, and though for the last 14 years we've stayed at the tax cap, which is huge. So we've been trying to stabilize the economy here for our citizens. So I remember very well the flood of 2011. That was one of my biggest challenges because it was my district and my office got flooded. That's when I was still on the chamber, and it was very scary. We actually evacuated this building at 56 Main Street and went up to social services because it was flooded on the first floor. But we managed. We went up to social services, and the community pulled together. So that was probably one of the most taxing emotionally, because you saw people's homes being damaged and businesses being damaged. But we rallied here in this community and came back, so that was a big challenge.
What's always struck me about Owego's experience of the flood is, in over the last couple of decades, it's become pretty clear that the federal government's attitude toward flooding is one of retreat, rather than their first suggestion in any situation is pull back, get away from the threat, rather than building other sort of barriers or other forms of mitigation, be it flood control ponds further up in the hillsides, or there are various ways you can address it. And it's just always struck me that how do you pick up and move the village of Owego?
You can't. No, you can't. But their resiliency, it flooded, along the riverbank, of course. So they did get money from, not necessarily FEMA, but other sources. We did build a riverbank in back of those businesses. And it was funny at the time because I thought, well, does that really go to make a walkable, structure there? I was so wrong. That is such a quality piece of work there. It really defends, I like to use the word defends, protects those businesses, their basements. It floods, it goes up and down, but it's so solid. It really is working effectively. Plus, the Riverwalk is absolutely amazing, draws tourism, looks beautiful, and we're very grateful. So there's always people smarter than me. I learn a lot.
How about that dark, dark day when
COVID?
Albany? Well, no, okay, we can go there. But
Okay.
I was going to talk about the day when the Cuomo administration both banned fracking and did not select Tioga Downs as
Right.
the fourth casino. What was that like? Because, I mean, what a double whammy of a day.
It was. It was. You know, sometimes you have really good intentions, you have high hopes, and along comes a punch to your gut. Resiliency is the answer, and sometimes you wait. So for the Tioga Downs situation, the people in this community rallied, the senator rallied, we went after and we said, Governor, you can't do that to us. This is a wonderful organization. Jeff Rowell did a wonderful job building the casino, restoring. You remember, it used to be a quarter horse track. I was there when they tore down the quarter horse track pavilion. I was there every time after when they had ribbon cuttings for building and restoring, and the celebration of all was when they got their gambling license. It was a campaign. It was a campaign, and this community did rallied around support for this casino, and Governor Cuomo heard them.
And would you say Mr. Gorell has largely kept his promises to this community?
He absolutely has. Mr. Gorell has been so very generous. He gives a large amount of money out every year in grants. That was part of the agreement, but he does it so happily and willingly. He also is very supportive of veterans. He hosts events down there, and for instance, Dancing with the Stars are Dancing United here in Tioga County. He always participates and always sort of contributes to that event. It's a wonderful event, and he's a great man to work with.
All right, now let's talk about COVID. That was so, I mean, it's easy to throw the word unprecedented around,
Yeah.
but, you know, in a situation like that, you must have felt like, and I'll use another cliche here, that you were kind of building the plane while you were flying it. I mean, no one really knew what to do, and the rules changed every day
Yes.
or hour. What was that like to sort of be, I know over in Broome, Jason Garner had a lot of responsibility for making real-time decisions.
That's right.
I would assume you were in that very same boat.
Yes, that COVID experience was probably the most stressful experiences I've had in leadership. There were times when in this building there was 3 of us left to run the government, so to speak. We sent people home, which to me, you had to do it. The governor was calling the shots. And the interesting thing about that whole process was we had 2 different governors. One governor gave us one kind of direction. Every day the rules were changing. We had to dance to his music. We had to do what he said to do. And then we had a change in governors. So it was a roller coaster. I will say this community stepped forward. There were lots of challenges. The hardest, most difficult thing was I was required to report businesses or organizations that were not following the rules. There was a system where people called the state and made complaints. So-and-so wasn't making people wear masks when they go in their grocery store. They're not following the rules. That information would come to my office, and then I had to scold them, so to speak. That was one of the most difficult things I ever had to do, because not necessarily did I always agree, but you have to follow the rules, and that's the one thing about government that you have to learn. you can have opinions, but you also have to follow the law, the rules, and the direction given from higher ups. But we got through it. We really did. And then we began to build our staffing back, and that became a challenge, especially in the social services area. We had a very difficult time hiring people, getting them to come to work. I think we were all in shock, and nobody wants to work with that serious of a position when you've just gone through this COVID experience. You need something brighter and lighter to lift your spirits. I mean, I really give those people credit. So it was a tough time. Really glad it's over. You go to the DMV line and they're standing in line 6 feet apart with masks on. I said to one gentleman, "Sir, excuse me, but you don't have a mask on." And he turned around and let me have it. I said, "Okay, whatever you say, sir." It was challenging.
Did your tenure as chair coincide at all with any of the ups and downs of the Lockheed presidential helicopter saga?
Well, actually, yes. It was 2014, I believe, when the presidential helicopter was announced to Lockheed. I looked it up the other day. It was a very proud moment for this community. I cannot tell you how proud that was. And going to the ceremony and being part of that, and Senator Schumer was there, it was a very, very powerful experience. And then I actually got to ride in a helicopter with the back door open. I don't know if you got a chance to do that. It was very exciting, but it made you feel very proud. And Lockheed has been a great business doing great things forever. They're still building helicopters. They fly right over my house, and I always say thank you. Thank you for keeping us safe, and thank you for building here in Owego, or for working here in Owego.
You mentioned Senator Schumer. He's a Democrat. You're a Republican. How important has it been through your career when having to deal with folks on the state or federal level who might be of the opposite party? How have you been able to work with them?
So I did learn very early that when you're working for government, you're working for the good of everybody. And you can have different political opinions, but when you're working for the people in your community, you have to come to a point of agreement. I worked with Senator Schumer. I worked with numerous governors. We had one Republican governor not when I was in office, but certainly when I was involved in government or in politics. And they run the show. And if you want to work as a team rather than fight with people, you work as a team member to work to make things good. And I think as people work in the government, they learn that as they go. You have to be respectful to everyone and listen to what they have to say and hope that they will listen to what you have to say, and then you compromise and you work together as a team. That's been my philosophy.
Seems like we've focused a lot on challenges, and in the answer to this, feel free to repeat yourself if you want, but what is your proudest accomplishment?
Oh, gosh, that's some big wins. So certainly the downtown Owego downtown revitalization, we got $10 million. That was absolutely amazing. Our economic development team wrote that grant in like over the weekend. They put their heads together, they wrote that grant, and we won. That was a huge moment for this community, and we're still working on projects downtown. And you've seen some beautiful buildings be renovated. We have some wonderful programs that have gone on. We're just very, very proud, very happy. It was a wonderful win. The other was the Interoperable Radio Project. So I signed the contract for that in 2019 because we have lots of hills and valleys where radio communication is very difficult. So the legislature agreed to that. We signed the contract. Then in 2019, then came COVID, so there was a pause. But the radio project is up and running, and not running, but up, and should be functioning a year from now. So we're building towers in numerous locations across the county so that we will have safety and good communication throughout our county. That's a big win.
And just to confirm, this is for emergency services and
Yes.
first responders.
Yes, it is, and for police officers, because lots of times police officers would be up in the Berkshire, Richford area, and they would lose radio connection. So you need to have that ability wherever you go.
What is it that makes Tioga County special?
Oh, it's the people. The people in this community are amazing people. They're hardworking, they're compassionate, and they show up for one another. If you check Facebook or any posters downtown Owego, downtown anywhere in Tioga County, you'll see fundraisers, you'll see all kinds of activity to support the people in their neighborhood who have had a son who is very, very ill, and the hospital expenses are high. People come forward here. They are respectful, and they are a happy group of individuals, I think. And so I'm very proud of the people in this community. They step up and they volunteer and they give to their brothers and sisters.
In terms of your district within the legislature, how much do you appreciate the degree to which Owego still has a functioning retail downtown when so many other like-sized communities in upstate New York are nothing but empty storefronts?
I think in the village of Owego, the spirit of creativity and hard work is what's brought them through. If you go down Lake Street, Front Street, and North Avenue, Main Street, you will see some very unique and creative shops there. And people work together. For instance, we have Lights on the River. We have the Strawberry Festival. We have special shopping days. I mean, you can't walk down the street. You can't get in the stores. They're packed. But the items they have are unique and different. And when you walk in, people greet you with warmth. Fuddy Duddy's is one of my very favorite stores. You go in there, it's charming. It takes you back to when you were a kid. And it's just a lovely example of this community. We have a beautiful jewelry store. We have several unique beer places. I don't know what you call them.
Yeah, pubs, maybe.
Pubs, yes. And of course, we have a beautiful bookstore. Not every community has such a great bookstore. So, and they all work together to promote one another. So it's a good thing. And you know, we've gone through some tough times. We've had empty stores, but they put decorations in those stores so that when you would walk by, it didn't look empty. So there was always a positive attitude.
What was the reason to decide now not to run again? Why choose now to retire?
I always say, well, I'm old. It's time to retire. I've had 20 years working on the legislature, and I did love it. I really enjoy government. I enjoy making a difference. I had a lot of opportunities to build things, create things, and create leadership opportunities, because that's my big thing, getting people to be motivated and become leaders in their community. But it's time. You need somebody with lots of energy and willing to make sacrifices to serve the community. That is a sacrifice. And it's time for my husband and I to go visit our grandchildren. Everybody lives in the South, and just about. We've got one on the West Coast, and so we want to go see our grandchildren and their experiences before they graduate and go off to college. So that's what we're going to do. got to get things in order, and then probably by fall we'll be down there visiting for several months to see what's happening with them. It's been a good run.
I assume you're a supporter of switching to the county administrator process. If so, why? Why do you think that's a good move for the
Okay,
county?
so I have to back up because you asked me what are some of the things you're most proud of. Boy, that's right at the top. County administrator for us was a blessing, and here's why. Government keeps getting more and more complicated. You get people that are elected, it's really hard to get people to make that commitment. And they have been, in this experience, the ones who run all the things that happen at government. And they are very serious people, very serious issues. So you need someone with wisdom and knowledge and understanding of finances, planning. And that's what our county administrator does. He manages the budget and the finances. He also manages projects and makes sure that we're in the right direction. He listens to us. He offers us, okay, these are your choices. Which direction do you want to go? We make the choices, but he puts the plan together. And in the future, I felt that that was very, very necessary for the success of Tioga County government. And I can tell you that Jackson Bailey is our man. He has done an amazing job since he's been here. Day and night difference. We are organized like we've never been organized before. We know where the money is any day of the week, any time of day. We can find that out. He's been just a blessing to this legislature and will be an asset in the future. It's hard to get people to run for office to make the commitment, so that way county administrators got the government stabilized.
So you mentioned you will be traveling to visit with your grandchildren.
Yep.
Will you give up your residence here in Owego, or do you plan to stick around? Will you still be engaged in, say, local boards or things of that nature?
Well, I've already had lots of people asking me to do things, and I say, give me a break, will you? Give me a break. I need to figure out what I want to do. But yes, I'm going to help with the Strawberry Festival. One of my friends has asked me, okay, I said, just give me a little job. Just give me a little job. I don't want a lot of responsibility. I'm sure it's hard to leave a community and not be involved. And no, we're not going to move. Well, I don't think we are. You just have to wait and see. I just am grateful that both of us are healthy, and so we can travel a little. Yeah, it's been good. I have loved every moment of it, even though it's been stressful, even though COVID was just a nightmare. But I'm optimistic that good things will happen here. Yeah, it's been a good run.